right, guys, welcome back for today's news video. We have a new Xbox headset. We have a Netflix AAA studio that recruited Joseph Staten, as we know he is known for Halo, shutting down, and Ubisoft, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Looks like there is some negative things happening around that game, which is unfortunate because that is a great game, plus a couple of other things. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit the like button. Check out my Spotify, link is in the description. Share the video to other people who you think will enjoy it. So the Xbox wireless headset, the current one that's on the market, is still a very good headset. It came out at the beginning of this generation. I have it and I use it all the time when I'm playing on my Series X on my TV. Just lay back, wireless. It has controls for voice chat, it has controls for game chat, it has the microphone that it sounds pretty good, and it has a mute button and everything like that. And it looks like Xbox is taking basically the exact same headset here and giving it some enhancements and re-releasing it. We did talk about this leak, I believe, a few weeks ago, but there are some actual decent upgrades here for those who haven't picked them up or maybe want to get a second pair here. So this is the new Xbox wireless headset. They call it the next evolution of the headset. And they say here that it now features Dolby Atmos at no additional cost. The updated headset delivers immersive spatial audio that brings games to life in vivid detail. They've improved the battery life of the headset, which is now offering up to 20 hours of playtime. Not quite sure what the original one was, but it's pretty good. I don't know how much less than 20 hours was. Maybe it was like 10, 15 or so, but it's pretty good from my experience from what I have. They've upgraded the microphone with enhanced auto mute and voice isolation for crystal clear communication, and now feature Bluetooth 5.3. And then it comes with basically the exact same design as the other one. There really is no difference in the design. They also say that it has built-in support as well for Dolby Atmos, which they mentioned, Windows Sonic, and DTS Headphone X, so you can choose which one that you're going to be using with that. And there's no additional cost. If previously you actually had to pay for Dolby Atmos, it was like a one-time fee. I think it was like $20 or something. It wasn't crazy, but to get access to Dolby Atmos, you need that. Now you don't have to do that. And basically they are going to be releasing this for $110, and it is available right now, they say here, in select Xbox markets. So if you've been looking for this, this is the brand new Xbox headset available now. And I don't know how big of an upgrade it will be on the current Xbox wireless headset, but you'll have to obviously try out both to know. I like some of the features added in here, but I don't know if it's really worth picking it up now to replace the current headsets that I do have. But here we go. They're just re-releasing the Xbox wireless headset. I would have kind of liked a brand new one that was completely different, maybe a nice redesign and just give it a nice fresh look, but they've decided to just go with the same thing that they currently had. Okay, let's talk about this because this is a very interesting story, and one that when this studio did open up, I did have questions as to how deep was Netflix going to try to get into the AAA gaming space, because as you know, with Netflix right now, with your subscription, you do get access to like mobile games, and it's hard to break into the AAA gaming space. Even if you're a massive company like Netflix, to come out there with a studio and make something great that gamers want to play and not play other games that they are currently playing is very hard. And we've seen that consistently, especially this generation, where new IPs and new games have a harder time breaking in. You have a few successes, but getting something brand new in there is definitely difficult. And Netflix, it looks like they're just quitting basically the AAA space. They say Halo and veteran leaves Netflix games following closure of AAA studio. Joseph Staten was their major acquisition, you could say, or major hire for this new AAA Netflix studio. He is known obviously for Halo, has done some great work in the industry. And they say a couple of years ago, Xbox and Halo veteran Joseph Staten announced that he was leaving Microsoft to embark on a new adventure, which ultimately ended up being the role on Team Blue at Netflix Games, working on a new AAA project. And unfortunately, it's been confirmed to GameFile this week that Netflix Games has shut down the Team Blue studio, and Joe is no longer at the company. They say here as of October 2024. However, Netflix has shut down Team Blue, and all three of those big hires are no longer at the company. A company rep confirmed to GameFile. So he is now out there probably looking for something else to work on. I did see on Twitter that the creative designer role for the upcoming Halo, for Halo Studios, had opened up and then quickly closed down. Maybe Joseph Staten here is going to be returning to Halo Studios to bring back and work on the new Halos that are going to be in the works. We know they have multiple projects in the works, whether that is a remake, a brand new spin-off, and then probably the next Halo 7 or whatever they're going to end up calling it. So there is definitely lots of Halo work, and maybe Joseph Staten is going to make his way back there and bring his expertise and experience on the franchise itself. I mean, we have to admit that Halo Infinite, from a gameplay perspective and design perspective, was pretty good. It was actually, in my opinion, one of the best Halos that we've had. Definitely from the way that it feels, the way that it does play, and he had a big part in that. So maybe they will end up taking it back. And that was all in the Slipspace engine, but bringing over to Unreal Engine 5, I wonder what this new game, that AAA game that Netflix was working on, was it in UE5? So if it was, he'll probably have gained some experience there, of course. So we'll see. Maybe he works on, maybe he's done, maybe he retires, or maybe he goes over to a new project and Halo Studios picks him back up. But on the Netflix side of things, again, this isn't that surprising. We've seen lots of major companies fail trying to break into the gaming industry, trying to break into the AAA space, even just as a services side of things. You saw Google with Google Stadia fail. Now, of course, that wasn't developing games, but still trying to provide those services that generally the other big companies have provided for many years and already have their fan bases. It is getting harder and harder here. And obviously, with the whole industry going on downturn in terms of closures and layoffs and game cancellations with the increase in costs, Netflix is deciding, hey, we're not going to be doing this anymore. And I think they're just going to continue to focus on more of the mobile side of gaming. Now, when it comes to another studio closure, this one here to me is extremely sad. Now, this is only a rumor, and I guess it isn't a studio closure, but at least the team that was working on, I think, one of the best games this year, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, has been disbanded at Ubisoft. And again, this is very sad to me because I absolutely loved this game. It's still one of my favorite games that I have played this year, and I don't think it got nearly enough praise as it deserved. It was also kind of a response to a lot of people who continuously complain about Ubisoft and Ubisoft open worlds, which I'm a fan of them, but there was a huge part of the gamers that don't like them, very vocal about it. So Ubisoft comes out here and they release a completely different style of game, a Metroidvania 2D action platformer side-scroller game. And it's phenomenal, but it just did not sell very well. It says here, there won't be a sequel to the Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, and the team that built the game no longer exists at Ubisoft. According to a new rumor from French journalist Gatos, Ubisoft has disbanded the team behind the game after it failed to reach internal expectations. And a sequel for the game was also pitched, but the company rejected it. So very sad. I mean, this is a game that deserves a lot better than what is happening here. And yet there's many reasons why this probably happens. I mean, the CEOs, the executives at these companies who are just not really tuned into gaming have all these crazy expectations. And then when a game doesn't meet those expectations, instead of giving it another chance and greenlighting another game to maybe try to grow it and try to grow the fan base around it, they cut it off right away. And then you see things like this happen. And there's also the other side where a lot of people complain about Ubisoft games, but when they come out here and make something that's different and is actually very good, they still don't go out and play it. So there's a lot of things that probably happened here, but definitely I think the management at Ubisoft, we are seeing some major issues there that need to be worked out, because it's a shame that we will more likely than not, at least in the near future, see a sequel here to Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Then you have to ask, what does this mean going forward for other Ubisoft games? What is going on with the Prince of Persia remake? Is that one in jeopardy? Are they going to be moving away from Prince of Persia and then just continue to double down on IPs that they know are going to sell very well, like Assassin's Creed, which we know Shadows is coming out. The sales of that will be very important for the future success of the company. And then if that game still sells very well, even after all the controversy, will it just be more and more doubling down on Assassin's Creed? Something that we have seen throughout the industry in the last couple of years, that there are less chances that these companies are going to take any sort of risk when it comes to creating different styles of games, because they don't believe that they have a chance of meeting the expectations. And again, we saw this year with Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Pretty shitty what has happened here. Hopefully all the people on the team that did work on this phenomenal game, if you haven't played it, go play it, do end up landing on their feet and being able to continue to make some other games in the future. All right, jumping over here, as we know, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is just around the corner. Skip past this part if you don't want to hear about this. This is kind of a spoiler for the Dark Ops challenges. These are things that just you get if you play more and more. They do come up and they unlock basically secrets for players to kind of work towards. And they have been leaked. So if you want to know exactly what to do, there is the link in the description, and it'll tell you everything that needs to be done to get all of these Dark Ops challenges if it's something you do want to grind. So the leaks are coming now before the release date of the game, which is just a few days away. And it is pretty insane how big of a release this is going to be. In fact, there are some pretty interesting promotions that they have been doing. One of the things people are talking about a lot with Call of Duty is the Game Pass advertising and it only being on the Xbox channel and not on the Call of Duty channel. Well, that seems to be changing, as we do see this year on the Call of Duty X account. They have a Game Pass ad with the Replacer. The Replacer ads have been absolutely hilarious since they restarted this campaign. So happy that he is back. But Call of Duty puts this out. Okay, Xbox Game Pass got a new Rico list for you. Thoughts, hashtag replace every game, hashtag Black Ops 6. And you can see here it is the Replacer with a Game Pass ad behind him. You know, when they do the announcement and telling you where the games are coming out to, which games are coming out, has Black Ops 6 pasted over every single game, and there's about 5 of them in there. So it's pretty funny what they did with this ad. I think it's a really, really good ad. And it is obviously a massive Xbox Game Pass ad on the Call of Duty channel, which people have been questioning. Are they going to advertise Game Pass specifically on the Call of Duty channel, not just the Xbox channel or the Xbox account? And it looks like, yeah, that is the case. They will be with this. Just awesome. I think this is an awesome campaign overall that they have been doing with Call of Duty. Okay, let's talk this, because this is just, for me, very disappointing. Not surprising, but very disappointing. And I mean, the proof has been in the pudding from PlayStation's output over the last number of years. They have not dove back into their back catalog and brought games like Killzone back, and it looks like they may be done with Killzone for good, which again, very, very disappointing. It says here that in 2017, Guerrilla Games released Horizon Zero Dawn, a post-apocalyptic PlayStation 4 exclusive that turned heads with ease. It was vibrant and punchy and represented an entire world of opportunity and freedom. It was the team's first game since 2013's beleaguered Killzone Shadowfall, which that was a PlayStation 4 launch game. And the cool thing about that game was it looked just absolutely phenomenal. It was one of those games that you played and bought basically to show off, hey, this is the new generation of hardware and look how good games can look. And I thought Killzone Shadowfall was fun and looked really good, and it was a decent launch game. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it was pretty good, but I guess it just didn't do very well, and that may have been the end of Killzone, or it was the end of Killzone. They say here, it was recently revealed in an interview that Horizon Zero Dawn spelt the ultimate end for Killzone, with Guerrilla fully pivoting away from their gritty FPS to focus on more colorful horizons. It says this: we were done with it as a team. As a studio, we needed to refresh the palette. It was by choice the opposite of Killzone. I think the themes that this story and the characters represent are relatable for all ages and people, like having a found family of friends and finding your place in the world. So it sounds like Killzone isn't coming back. I mean, from what we have seen from PlayStation, especially with the recent announcement of the Horizon Remaster, they're just going to continue to double and triple down on what works. And again, this is where there is, I think, a misconception here when you have people asking for different games and then they do release different styles of games, or a studio releases a different game that is away from what generally sells well. If that game that is different does not sell good, they are just going to go back and triple and double down on what does sell well and then continue to do the remasters and remakes and not give any variety in the styles of games that they do make. I mean, we're seeing this with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Like, we're not going to see another one in that series, which is unfortunate. Now with Guerrilla, because one game did not sell well, which was the 2013 release on the PS4, Shadowfall, they have just continued to triple and double down on Horizon. And I don't see that changing anytime soon, especially in the industry that we are in, where taking risks is becoming less and less prevalent with increasing development costs and smaller margins. The chances of taking a risk to release something new that people don't already have an established fan base for or haven't asked for in a while is becoming less and less. So that's unfortunate. I don't think we're going to be seeing very much variety in the PlayStation lineup for a very, very long time, which is something they absolutely need. I think they need a first-person shooter in the lineup. I think they need a multiplayer hit. Killzone could be that if they were to just kind of continue to create it and put it out there, but looks like that won't be the case. Now, the other thing here that is kind of interesting is Bungie's creative studios. They're all moving to support live service games, they say, while working and continuing on Destiny and Marathon. This comes here via a LinkedIn post of Bridget O'Neill, who previously was Bungie's senior director of creative studios, announcing this on LinkedIn. Today was my team's last day at Bungie, but not our last day working on a Destiny and Marathon. Bungie Creative Studios is joining the PlayStation Studios to build the foundation for a creative team that can support all PlayStation live service games. As part of this move, I am taking on a new role as Senior Director of Creative at PlayStation Studios. And this, again, not as a shock or surprise, especially after what happened with kind of the whole Bungie situation after the recent financials and it just not doing very well. And it was official now that Bungie was going to be completely ran by PlayStation. Whereas when they first purchased them, there was the discussion there that they were going to still be kind of independent and do their own thing. That went away when Bungie did not meet expectations that PlayStation had for them. So they're going to be taking teams and they're going to be taking talents from Bungie and then obviously going over there and trying to use that to create more live service games. As I just said, I think they need more multiplayer. I think they need more live service in their lineup rather than just the same thing over and over again. And they are going to be working towards that. Marathon obviously is going to be a huge release for them. We'll see how that does do. But I don't think that's all that they can put out in that genre or in that realm of style of games. They need more than that, and Killzone would have been something great. You think about SOCOM coming back, that would have been really cool. Hopefully they are looking into older IPs and maybe trying to bring some of those back, but as of right now, the whole live service thing at PlayStation has kind of been a disaster. You think about Concord. The rumor is $400 million they lost on that. They've also canceled other games that you would have thought would have been good, like the Spider-Man live service game or Twisted Metal. People love that game. They've canceled that. So where do they go from here with Marathon? Where do they go from here with other games in the live service genre? We will see. It's a very interesting time to see PlayStation kind of change and evolve and become more multi-platform with putting games on PC and try to break out in a genre, which is multiplayer and live service, which is very, very hard to be successful in, as we see many failures in them. And finally, we have this Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, the remasters. We got this announcement that was at the PlayStation State of Play, I believe, last month or so. It's coming out multi-platform, but everyone who is a Legacy of Kain fan obviously got very excited that we were finally getting another entry into the series. Of course, it is just a remaster, but just to get these games back is very, very cool. Now we have more details on what updates will be coming here for this game. They say the models for Kain in both Soul Reaver and Soul Reaver 2 need to be completely redesigned to mitigate textural issues. With the increased polygon count, we felt it was important to bring his look a lot closer to the Kain we got to see in the original FMVs, which was a lot more detailed and showed more or less what the original intent was for the character. And the original model in SR1 was especially limited, so now both games have Kain that looks consistent between the two titles. So they are updating Kain and the overall look of him, which I think is a great thing. I mean, that's what you kind of want from a remaster. They also say here that the introduction of the map and compass marks a thoughtful enhancement that blends modern gameplay conveniences with the preservation of the explorative experience the original titles were known for, and the compass gently nudges the player in the right direction without giving away specific details of where to go or what to do next. And the map is more of a reference tool than a guide. So those things, obviously, that does bring it up to, I guess, the modern expectations of gaming. If you played games way back in the day, as I did, you would just get dropped into some of these games, have no idea what you're doing, spend hours and hours running in circles. But it was kind of part of the magic of these games. But I'm definitely okay with them making it a little bit more palatable for people who just don't want to deal with any of that stuff. And finally, they say, we also included a collection tracker for any health and energy power-ups so that you know if you've gotten all of the collectibles within each area. All of the major NOSCOS features are present and accurately condensed based on the setting and gameplay. So this is coming out December 10th, again, on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and PC. A lot of people are very excited for it, as am I. So cool to see Legacy of Kain back with the remasters. But I'll end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.